So let's say you live in Los Angeles and you just so happen to be a member of one of the two top most dangerous gangs in that area. Now, in a very Romeo and Juliet type situation, you also happen to have feelings for a member of the rival gang. Now, before either one of you can be discovered or truly find out what these feelings are, that partner that you have an interest in is unfortunately taken out by one of the local police department that is a member of a group called Night Patrol. You somehow manage to escape with your life, but barely, and strangely, as you're not exactly certain why. You then end up reaching out to this rival gang as you think it's horrifying what actually happened to the person you care about and want them to know what happened. A very strange chain of events then begins to happen from here as you start to discover that there may in fact be supernatural beings out in the world, and this group called Night Patrol that are in fact police officers might be vampires. And on top of all of that, your mother, who you've always thought was very crazy, may in fact know some sort of magic that can actually help you out in this situation. You also then become aware of the fact that this group of vampires with badges are now going to come and take out your entire community. So, with you, your family, and a bunch of gang members, do you think you would be able to survive the night? Well, this just so happens to be the plot for the film that I reviewed for today's Askewed Reviews. The movie that I'm referring to is the 2026 film Night Patrol, directed and co-written by Ryan Prowse. So this was a film that only recently came onto my radar of something that would be coming to theaters. So I decided to go and watch it for a couple of reasons. One, vampire movies can be really fun. And two, my own personal reason is because Phil Brooks, also known as the wrestler CM Punk, is one of the actors in this film. Now, this movie originally appeared at Fantastic Fest earlier in 2025 and has just recently come to theaters now in January. Now, as I mentioned, CM Punk being in this film was a lot of the reason I went to go see it. But this actually does have a really good cast. You have RJ Cycler, you also have Justin Long, Dermot Mulrooney, you have Jermaine Fowler, and Nikki Michaud. I'm not exactly certain how to pronounce her name, but I think that's correct. And a couple of other rappers and musicians that you might also recognize. So let me tell you more about the concept to see if this is something that you want to check out for yourselves. Now, even though my beginning description made it seem like this was coming from one person's perspective, the film does kind of follow a few different people. Wazzy was the one that I was describing it as, and he's one of these gang members that ends up in this very unfortunate situation. We also have his brother Xavier, who actually is a police officer, which makes this very awkward for the both of them. You also have Ethan, who's kind of one of the other main characters, and he is an established police officer that is now joining Night Patrol, but for some different and maybe personal reasons. Now, those three are pretty much the primary main characters. We've got a couple of other ones that are close to being primary, with the deputy, the sergeant, and the mother character of Ayanda. Now, it is very quickly revealed in the film that this group of police officers, known as the Night Patrol, are vampires. What's interesting with this film is they're not your regular everyday ones. Most of the weaknesses or some of the well known facts about them don't actually really seem to fit anymore. They now add in a very, at times interesting, but also really weird element of Zulu magic having a big effect against them. The movie definitely has that feel of things are behind a curtain that some people are aware of, as there are definitely characters that treat vampires and other supernatural beings as just common knowledge. So I'm almost fascinated to see what more of this world is besides just the story that's told in this film. Another way that I feel like I could describe this movie is it's almost a blending of the film Bright, the Will Smith led film, and mixing that with elements of Attack the Block, the one starring John Boyega. It almost feels a little bit like mixing those two worlds together. I will say, however, I had a very big problem with this movie in that it was really hard to get connected or really behind any of the characters. Some of them that were supposedly good guys ended up doing some things that I just couldn't forgive or I wasn't okay with. And some of the bad guys, there was just something cool about them. So it was like, it's hard not to root for these people. I don't know. And then it just got really, really weird near the end of this film that I'm just not even certain if I can fully describe it. Either one, without ruining it completely, or two, without just completely confusing myself. There are some really cool moments in this and also some very funny moments, especially with the gang members. The back and forth that some of them have, it's not the regular gang member feel. It definitely is more of like a group of guys sitting at their favorite club and just discussing things. Like that's what it feels more like. I feel like this is a movie that after some time I'm going to have to give a rewatch to really know how I felt about it. But just from my initial viewing of it, I'm going to give this film a 2 out of 5. I do still feel it's worth checking out and watching it while it's in theaters if you can. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Askewed Reviews. And if you've already seen Night Patrol, let me know what you thought about it in the comments.